She screamed for help and begged not to be taken. One of the migrants gagged her with his hand. The Afghan men forced her to perform sex acts in a secluded area. She is heard screaming for help. She calls for her friends. She wants to go home. She's pleading for help from passers-by. None came. Can you imagine her horror, her fear, her desperation? Think if it was your daughter. How would that make you feel?
At the parliament in the United Kingdom, a member of the parliament reported a rape issue by some illegal immigrants who are origins of Afghanistan and happen to seek a refuge, but they eventually become more of a terrorist to the society. Let's watch this video together.
2 Afghan illegal migrants jailed for raping a schoolgirl. The footage exists. She filmed herself during the rape. Even the men's barrister warned it would lead to disorder if it was released, as it was so horrific. "You're going to rape me," the girl cried as she was dragged away. She screamed for help and begged not to be taken. One of the migrants gagged her with his hand. The Afghan men forced her to perform sex acts in a secluded area. She is heard screaming for help. She calls for her friends. She wants to go home. She's pleading for help from passers-by. None came. Can you imagine her horror, her fear, her desperation? Think if it was your daughter. How would that make you feel? Honestly, think about that.
Would the honourable member give way?
I will give way.
He is making a very powerful introduction to his speech. He and I share profound concerns regarding the scale of illegal migrants in the UK and their ability to arrive here and disappear. The case he speaks of yesterday, the most disturbing thing for me is that we are being gaslit by the media because these 2 Afghani boat arrivals were described as being from Leamington. They're not from Leamington. Would you agree with me that women and girls are less safe in this United Kingdom now, today, than they were 5 years ago because of this reason?
I thank the honourable member for her intervention, and I completely agree with what you're saying. The girl was then pushed to her knees before being brutally raped. Another, one of too many. Last year, a 35-year-old Iranian small boat migrant raped a 15-year-old girl in an alleyway. He was known to police in Germany, where he was convicted of assault offences. He told the girl she could be his sex doll and that he wanted to, and I quote, fuck her, before dragging her down an alleyway, forcing her to her knees outside a secluded doorway, and then raping her. The poor girl's anguished mother later asked, why was he in this country? 2 Afghan illegal migrants jailed for raping a schoolgirl. The footage exists. She filmed herself during the rape. Even the men's barrister warned it would lead to disorder if it was released, as it was so horrific. "You're going to rape me," the girl cried as she was dragged away. She screamed for help and begged not to be taken.
So, with what we have seen so far, this goes a long way to justify my position against illegal migrants into sovereign nation. Most of them, when they arrive, they become threats. Just as I've earlier stated on several of my videos, that these guys, one of the reasons why they come illegally is so as to hide their real identity. After their arrival, they become security threats to the citizens and the society at large. If not, why would somebody who came illegally seeking for a better life in their country end up becoming a rapist to a 15-year-old girl? This is totally condemnable, and by standard, the authorities in that country should take every necessary instrument of the law to punish him for his acts. So now, look at it this way. the stigma of that action on that girl alone could lead to depression. And you should know what depression can cause someone to do. It will register in our mind, in our consciousness, never to forget that experience. And put yourself in the shoes of the parents of that girl, how they will feel, how they will react to such thing that happened to their girl child. With all this, you can see that they do not deserve to be in an organized society in general. So people like this should be resisted and should be stopped from the borders with whatever excuse and reason they have or pleading with to come into countries that is organized, countries that do not condone such behaviors, because where they are coming from, women, the privacy of women do not mean anything to them, and as such they see women as objects that can be picked and used and then dumped. These are totally uncalled for and it should be rejected. Her life has been snatched away from her with that act alone, and there is nothing, in fact it will take a serious will by her to choose to move on. Even while moving on, the feelings and that stigma will be so tough to depart from our thoughts and our consciousness. And it will be very, very fundamental for the government to administer the necessary punishment to those two Afghan citizens. We know very well that there is no amount of punishment that can equate the stigma that that little girl will have in her whole life. I just hope someday she will feel and get better. These are our thoughts on this video, and we hope to know what are your thoughts as well in the comment section. See you in our next video.